Welcome to your weekly interval. This is the Best Damn Nerd Show. I'm your host, microphone alchemist James Kincaid. With me tonight, Professor Chris Davis.
Oh, top billing. Why is that, James?
I like to keep a solid rotation of it going around. There's no favoritism here.
Clearly. That's so nice of you.
Well, enjoy yourself, Davis. You're already having a beverage, I see. I'm sure you're probably several deep. And also, Hall of Fame cyber athlete, agent of the Kieran Tour, Jonathan Craig.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, it's going well. Davis is clearly drunk already, so that's always good.
Been watching college basketball all day.
Yeah, how's your bracket doing, Davis?
If he starts yelling, it's because his parlay has died.
Well, the games are done for the day, and my big parlay on the day, I was going like 6-7 teams deep, would have won a couple $100. Last team screwed it for me, so I have to recuperate those losses in drinks right now.
Well, cheers, Davis.
Yeah.
Cheers. Well,
it was going so well.
it was going very well for you. I'm sorry that it ended in disappointing fashion. But there's always the boozing and the Best Damn Nerd Show. So
yeah, my consolation is you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there you go. Well, before we dive into this week's main topic, which will be the much ballyhooed Snyder Cut that we all, well, Davis and I watched. John's along for the ride. He has not watched it yet. Exactly. Yeah, John's a fan of the Whedon cut, so he's just here for this.
John's the fan that we have to convince to watch it,
or not convince, as it were.
Yeah.
Exactly. But we will be getting into the Snyder Cut, but I forgot, in the sort of preamble, the production meeting here, that some housekeeping. We're revamping our YouTube. John, do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So when we relaunched the Nerd Show, we had created a brand new YouTube from scratch for it, and we had debated internally about, do we create a YouTube for it? Do we use a channel that we already have? And ultimately we decided to create a new, because a larger channel that I had, I was still trying to wrestle away from the powers that be. That being said, we have decided to move our YouTube channel over to a larger YouTube channel that's already partnered, and has a bunch of subscribers already. So not that those subscribers are going to mean instantaneous views or anything like that. It's just it's a channel that's already built in this niche that I basically built up when I was working at Machinima. And
I hope they love us.
Yeah, and we are repurposing the channel as the new Best Damn Nerd Show YouTube channel. So Godspeed. I think in the early days there were a handful of people in our Discord that were watching or listening to our stuff on YouTube. So we'll be back to posting regularly on this newer, larger channel. And for all of you who have not been introduced to us yet,
well, and welcome.
And welcome. Your subscription feeds have been flooded with catching up on archive episodes on this channel.
Hey, dude? The binge watch or listen model, whatever, is it's the way.
We got you, bitches.
Yeah, I know. Imagine trying to binge the 41 episodes of our relaunch. You're talking about
especially those early ones that were they were long. That DCEU episode in particular. And now here we are again. But I am excited for that.
Here's a good thing to do. If someone is just now finding out about us by listening to this episode, and we've just posted all the archives to this YouTube channel that we're migrating to, what episodes would you suggest that they listen to get acclimated?
I think the Comic-Con Reflections one, in terms of getting acclimated to us, it's the Comic-Con one. I think that was a pretty in-depth look at the history of the Best Damn Nerd Show, and in particular the friendship side of it, which is what I love the most. Is the interpersonal stuff. I would definitely recommend that one. And
does that as well.
The reboot one does that as well. The Comic-Con one, though, it narrows in on such a very special Time and Place, though, that I really enjoy that one. The X-Men one, the extravaganza for the reboot, was also a tremendous episode. Davis, what about you?
Just going off some recent ones, I really had a good time in the Mortal Kombat vs. Street Fighter.
Oh, that was a fun one.
Let's see. I think there was one about the Toy Hall of Fame. That one always brings back good memories. Because we hate that place so much.
Mark loves it, dude. It's Mark's favorite time of year is the Toy Hall of Fame, dude.
So, and we just constantly shit on them for bringing out toys that they really shouldn't.
Well, and we discovered recently their lesser known video game Hall of Fame branch as well. So that was fun. I think any of the October episodes are great when it's if you want to go back, if you're discovering this months later and it's spooky season again, as Davis likes to refer to it, you can throw those on.
If you want to listen to the relaunch nearly fall apart, you can listen to the Mandalorian episode.
You know what? Release the John Craig cut of the Mandalorian episode, and I did. I patched that thing together. John, in a premeditated assault, almost single-handedly ruined the episode, not by the content of his words, but by amplifying his mic to try and shout over me, and almost killed the whole episode. But that honestly, when it finally did come out, I enjoy that very much. Even as somebody that is sensitive to audio issues, it's still a great listen.
I don't think anyone in Discord agreed with me at all on my stance on Mandalorian, which is fine. I'll die alone on that hill, but yeah. Well,
sometimes that's what it's about.
If you're new and watching this or listening to this or whatever, we welcome you. Definitely join the Discord, bestdamnnerdshow.com/Discord. There's a lot of great memes in there. There is an anime channel, so you might have to turn off notifications for that.
Only for some of us.
Dude, the anime channel is great. It's the most unified channel on the Discord. But yeah, I got to say one thing about the relaunch, and I know this is plowed ground for our regular listeners, but the Discord is one of my favorite things about the relaunch.
Yeah, me too.
I love interacting with you all in there. So that's been a lot of fun for all of us. So bestdamnerdshow.com/Discord. Of course, check out the Patreon if you want me to not be a homeless person. So that'd be good too.
I mean, the show might
bestdamnerdshow.com/Patreon.
The show might be more interesting though if you were homeless, recording from Starbucks locations and McDonald's locations all around.
I already have enough internet issues as it is than to shoot those dice. So
I mean, sometimes in the Discord we just watch John play Valheim, fall asleep, and snore into the mic as he plays.
We had an internal host conversation the other day where we were planning some stuff, and for the entire 2 hours of it, I was just running around collecting wood in Valheim, and I was streaming my play. And 2 hours in, Tim is like, "The fuck is wrong with you? Are you just collecting wood right now?" Yes, I am. I'm gonna build a large house at some point, and I need this wood.
You'd think of all people to ask that too. He knows what it is to grind. You're grinding, dude.
It's so disrespectful. This is the guy who has nine different characters to do run throughs of old raids on at World of Warcraft to collect transmog gear. He just logs them in and out in front of the same raid, all in front of the same entrance, and just runs it 8 times in a row every week, and then doesn't play anything else besides that.
So to put a bow on it, we're on this new YouTube channel that's still the Best Damn Nerd Show now. So we purged that other one. So we're coming back to doing more YouTube stuff, in the show, but also some newer but different Best Damn Nerd Show content, more independent videos and things like that to come, and we're working that out. But we want to provide more content in that medium in addition to the Best Damn Nerd Show podcast. So I'm excited to get that going.
Can I just say, and not to gloat, it's not like me to gloat or to brag or to do anything of the nature. It's just not like me. But since I have the opportunity to, I feel like I must. So if you go back in time, a little over 10 years ago, we create this show concept. There's another show with a eerily similar name, the Best Damn Sports Show. We survived. Okay, that show's long gone. Most people have never even heard of that show at this point. But the Best Damn Nerd Show, we've survived. We've gone on. We shot a bunch of pilots for Revision 3, and they were at one point considering having us on their network, not having us on their network. Regardless, we were down if they were down. It didn't work out. But guess what? Revision 3 didn't survive. The Best Damn Nerd Show, we survived. Okay, now you look at this YouTube channel. I worked at Machinima. I was a very good employee. I built this channel up from the ground up.
Well, that's debatable.
With a bunch of coworkers and friends. Machinima's no more. You know what is more? The Best Damn Nerd Show. We survived, dude. We're like cockroaches. We're like
a bad penny, dude.
We are. We're like cockroaches in the like several nuclear bombs have dropped over the years, and we just keep it moving.
I mean, the other side of that coin is that we are causing this misfortune to befall these people that in some sort of way run afoul of us, and their fortunes just drastically just fall. So so
don't take a pitch meeting.
Well, when we fast forward and people are like, YouTube, what the fuck is YouTube? And it's like, oh, is this old way of people watching content? And then Best Damn Nerd Show started uploading more videos to it, and it just destroyed it from within. So there's always that possibility as well.
I can't say I'd be unhappy about that.
Oh, I would be devastated. I love YouTube.
If YouTube does right,
I watch YouTube probably more than I watch anything else at this point.
Maybe Twitter first, then YouTube.
Seems like way more videos have ads now than ever before.
Yes. I would be okay with Twitter going away.
Yeah. Well, it's the world's a twisted place, and look no further than Twitter for that. But yeah, I want to get that little bit of housekeeping out of the way. But let us turn the page here and dive in to why we are here. And we are here to talk about the Snyder Cut. Justice League finally came out on HBO Max. And in the lead up to this, though, something called Snyder Gate happened. And this was, I mean, it took the sort of the social media world by storm. We're still sort of seeing the fallout shake out. But Snyder Gate, essentially, and John, you can correct me where you need to, but it involves another YouTube channel called Geeks and Gamers. And they have been very sort of vocal champions of hashtag release the Snyder Cut for a long time now. And they were sort of, I don't want to say affiliated, but they were championing the Snyder Cut, and they're very influential and, big fans of this project happening. And they had a charity stream for suicide prevention, which is very near and dear to Zack Snyder's heart, given everything that he's went through with his, personal trauma and everything that led to where we are today. He came on that live stream for charity, and it started things off with, saying that, hey, before we get started, I want to say that, I see on the donation page, I'm paraphrasing here. So I see on the donation page that there's still the Geeks and Gamers logo. I just want to make it clear that we are not affiliated with that. I just needed to say that. And then in almost the same breath, and I say almost for a reason, he pivots the talk to, the unfortunate mass shooting, at the massage parlors, and, what happened there, and how that it's, the world isn't supposed to be about hate. And if Justice League has taught us anything, it's about people coming together and, just basically condemning hate in the world. And so he does that in, it was quick. It was a few sentences, but it's sort of
minutes. It was like a minute or two at the top of his interview segment.
Yeah, but it unleashed
Did he
sort of
slow down his speech, or?
Oh, there was
a couple minutes.
There was no slow-mos, and there was no being bathed in music that was somewhat out of place, like in the Snyder Cut. Right. But it definitely sort of set off a mother box of controversy throughout the social media and online world. And people were Geeks and Gamer fans obviously felt like Zack Snyder was throwing them under the bus. And, people that are against Geeks and Gamers were, I think, sort of cheering in the streets that, yes, he condemned them. Just, John, did I sort of encapsulate what happened there?
Yeah, and I think this is coming on the heels of like a lot of conversation about like toxic fandom. And I think that Geeks and Gamers, and there's a whole kind of like subsect of YouTube channels that feels like the term toxic fandom is almost geared at them. And I think like this, for lack of better words, like triggered them because it activated their audience and made them feel like, oh, he's basically associating all these things that he's talking about in rapid fire at the top of this interview. He's associating with Geeks and Gamers. Like he's saying he's not affiliated. He's talking about, we all need to work together to end hate. And, to be quite honest with you, like there are moments on some of these YouTube channels where like they come off as like a little right wing, and like I don't really know how to articulate it. Not that I don't want to like paint them. I don't want to paint people as right wing if they're not. I just want to. I guess what I'm trying to say is like there's a lot of mention of like the culture war and like standing up for what you believe in, and like being strongly against the like quote unquote SJW like social justice cancel culture thing that happens. And I think that some of these channels find themselves at odds with that. And they felt like this Snyder thing at the top of the interview was basically an attack on them and trying to put them in their place.
and I know a lot of Geeks and Gamers fans have now come out to sort of rip Zack Snyder for it. I think that there's something to be said in defense of Zack Snyder that I think it's being taken sort of the wrong way. And John, you can disagree with me if you want, but I feel like the first part of his statement, and I've pulled up his statement, talking about, I know that on our donation page we still have the Geeks and Gamers logo. I just want to say and talk about this. We are really not affiliated with Geeks and Gamers as far as I'm concerned. I really just want to make that clear. Period. And then he goes, I really just want to, I also want to just say that in light of recent events, if Justice League teaches us anything, it's about coming together. There's no room for hate. I just think that it's an important message. As a father of Asian children, it really hits close to home for me. I just want to put it out there. There's no room for hate. And that's just what it's about. And he's like, they're two, right on opposite sides of each other. I don't think that he is condemning them for being a hate group like people are trying to make it out to be. I just don't. I think he was the first part of his statement to me was clearly a studio driven, hey, we're not affiliated officially with these people. We've told them to take the logo off the donation thing or to quit acting like they're affiliated with us. And if you go on there, you need to make that clear. That to me felt like he had a studio sort of gun pointing at him to put that out there. And then legitimately motivated by what was going on in the world, also said what he said. But people conflate those two, and now
it
spurred this civil war.
It's easy to conflate though, because like they feel like they're in the middle of this culture war, and here comes a guy who says these two thoughts, which by all means, like maybe they are separate thoughts, and it sounds like they are. Like I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that. But given the context of this channel and some of these other channels on YouTube and where they feel they are in this quote unquote culture war, like you could see how it could be taken that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think it is taken off that way. I mean, it's spread like wildfire. Everybody is weighing in, to either support Geeks and Gamers or condemn Zack Snyder, it seems. And I'm looking at it, it's like, I don't think he goes on that charity stream if he feels like that they're this hate group. I guess that's what it comes down to me.
Yeah, I agree. And look, as a master troll myself, I think that there is an element and there is something that like viewers should be aware of, in that like when something like that happens, it's an amazing opportunity for a YouTube channel or a series of YouTube channels to make it into a huge story, play the victim card, and play the outrage card, which they accuse other channels of. I'm not saying Geeks and Gamers is doing that. I'm not saying any other specific channels are doing it. I'm just saying if you wanted to pretend like this thing was way fucking worse than it is.
You're sounding a lot like Snyder right now.
No,
you're
I'm
saying
not,
one thing and then following up with
John's saying that this is a Geeks and Gamers conspiracy to take down Zack Snyder. They wanted this to happen.
Yeah, they trolled it. No, what I'm saying is take the Geeks and Gamers logo out of my statement for a second, okay?
Yeah.
Take their logo out. There is incentive for them to like overreact to this and use it as a ploy or use it as an instrument to get more views, like to completely lean in and play into it and play the victim card and use it as another stepping stone in this like culture war concept that some channels are peddling. Not Geeks and Gamers. They don't do that kind of low hanging fruit kind of content.
They wouldn't dare.
We're a rescue team, not assassins.
But
Davis,
like,
do you have a take, you drunk ass?
I was trying to figure out what the problem was when you were describing it. I'm like, wait, where is this going? Who has a problem with any of this? And then once you piece the puzzle together, I was.
I mean, again, he's popping on this charity stream, which was essentially organized by many Geeks and Gamers contributors.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he's still going on there. So
I get it. Yeah, if the studio had a problem with that property, they wouldn't allow him to go on there.
It's true.
So
that is true.
That wouldn't happen. So
yeah,
I think they're making much to do about a nothing right here.
Well, a lot has been made of it. I love a good gate, Snyder Gate, Watergate.
Not them. Not them. Freaks and Gamers.
We're removing their logo from this conversation. This is completely about other channels who are turning this into a scandal.
We're not going to pop their logo on this conversation.
Well, I mean, that's the whole.
We're using them for views 100%. We're leeches, dude.
Well, we're the cockroaches, as John has already described previously. That we are the cockroach of the nerd world.
Our thumbnail for this video is just going to be their logo.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and donate if you can. And it actually, it's spyware, and it actually launches you to our donation page. So we're just siphoning. Hey, we need it. Anyway,
it's fucking horrible.
Yeah, that's terrible. But anyway, I wanted to address that because it is every day, since it happened, and people are still sort of finding their way to the story. It's becoming bigger and bigger, and there are those out there that are really fanning the flames. And I felt the need to say something sort of in defense of Zack Snyder here, because I feel like he's taken a beating. Is like, oh, how could he sort of bite the hand that feeds him and stuff like that? And I feel for the guy in a certain respect, because that first part of the statement is like, oh man, that is a PR guy that said, if you don't do this, like your career is over,
totally
kind of deal.
PR guy telling him to say that.
Yeah. And then I do think the second part though is from the heart. It was a current event that had happened. And,
The problem is when you add those two things together, it's a toxic brew. And then depending on who's making content about that, it becomes even more toxic.
And to Davis's point too, of all the times to not slow it down and space it out just a bit more to really hammer home the context of what was actually going on. It's a shame, Zach. You should have Snydered it up right there, but you didn't, and you played yourself. So I just want to make sure that we address that.
Do you think he has any level of awareness that this whole thing is playing out on YouTube right now?
100%.
Yeah.
I think he definitely does. And I think, I haven't really looked into that much about what the actual relationship that he has with the Geeks and Gamers guys and girls and stuff like that are affiliated. But, I feel this should be sort of a relief and crowning moment for him. So I hope this doesn't take away from it, regardless of how you feel about the Snyder Cut itself. Like the fact that I'm excited that it's out there, just so we don't have to hear about release the Snyder Cut anymore. Like it's out of the bag. Like it's to quote, you can't unring that bell. So it's finally out there. So, but I do think that he's aware of it, and I think more people are becoming aware of it. So
how much should he actually care? He got his message out that matters to him. He's got the kids in his life that are his love and joy, and that's what matters to him. Like, how much are these fans going to change his future projects?
Well, I think
Exactly.
yeah. I think it's going to determine. I mean, the movement.
It matters more for him to try to help his children in the future, and
and honestly, what he said is only going to solidify and cement his stance and his like fortune with the studios. Like, it's not like he went on there and said some stuff that you can't take back. Like he toed the line, dude.
As I went down the rabbit hole of what was going on, there is a rumor out there that it was like studio either told him like either you go say this about distancing yourself or you don't get your movie. Which I think it's late in the game. It was too late in the game for that to have happened, but maybe that was the pressures that led up to this kind of deal.
What?
But yeah, I mean that's just
much.
Could be complete BS. But
no, yeah, that's
it's rumor and innuendo. Which, it's trades at a high price here at the Best Damn Nerd Show. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we are actually going to get into what we thought about the Snyder Cut itself. Well, Davis and I will. John hasn't watched it yet. More Best Damn Nerd Show on the other side. Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. James Kincaid alongside Professor Chris Davis, and we are finally going to get into the much-anticipated release of the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut of Justice League in the DCEU has arrived on HBO Max. All 4 hours plus of it. And Davis and I have watched it. Davis is clearly making his opinion felt on it. And I have, I'm of two minds about certain things with the Snyder Cut. And so we're going to spend the rest of the episode getting into it. So if you have not watched it yet, I encourage you to hit pause and come back in a few days after you've had the time to fully watch it.
Emphasis on a few days. It's going to take you a while. You're going to want to stop and start. Yeah.
I actually have watched it most of the way through twice now.
Ooh. Oh my God.
So I had
to put yourself through that pain.
Because I wanted to sort of clarify some thoughts. The second time around, it was on just in the background. I was doing some other work and things, but it was on. And there were certain things I wanted to revisit. I actually had a lot of fun with how I watched it because Imperial Commissar Jeff Budd and I actually synced things up on HBO Max, and we were watching it together and chatting through Discord with one another. It was great. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Sorry that you guys.
At one point, I jumped into Discord and Jeff was like on a walk and put his earbuds in, and we were all chatting it up during one of your guys' breaks. That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
I popped in to see if you guys were Hyman, but you guys were
we were not playing Valheim.
We were a lot less fun, a lot more tedious than just chopping wood for 2 hours.
Well, and we didn't do it the Netflix party way either, which in hindsight we really should have. We had some sync issues at various times where we had to pause and play, but I think that my enjoyment of it absolutely was heightened by how I watched it. But Davis, you're making the snoring noises. What did you think? What was it for you?
No, I'm kind of joshing you here. Because I did actually like it quite a bit, but
you faked me out.
I did, but there's a lot to how I feel about this movie from just kind of how it came about, and I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's true. I don't like it says it's Zack Snyder's version, but was he going to release a 4-hour movie? Was he actually going to do 2 movies? Like he wasn't going to do that. So this isn't what he truly had in mind. And I'm glad that he got to do his full vision, but it's also, he got to hear what everybody didn't like about it. How are you not going to listen to a lot of that and be influenced by it? So I just have a lot of
But it's not like he went back. I don't know. I mean, the footage was there, is my understanding. They did some extra CGI on Steppenwolf and things like that. But
Right.
I don't think he called up Ben Affleck to shoot up new scenes as Batman like they had to do with Whedon for the reshoots and stuff like that. I think you make an excellent point though about the runtime. There's no way that this movie gets released in theaters,
no.
At that run length. I do think that they encouraged not editing as much stuff out because it's like, okay, it's new streaming service. We built up what this, release the Snyder Cut is. And, just leave it all in there. The longer the better, because it'll feel like more epic and people are getting more bang for their buck sort of kind of deal. And I think that is more why you get the 4-hour runtime. Like if nothing else, like Zack Snyder does benefit from having an editor. I think that there is,
every director does.
Yeah, of course.
That's what a movie is. A movie is shot and then edited. You don't get to just like put out.
No, of course.
Editing is more than just choosing shots.
But he definitely like needs sort of a filter for what should and should not have been. I mean, Jeff and I were joking, especially in the early going of the movie. There was a lot of just needless scenes that should have been cut out, in my opinion. But overall, and we'll dive into maybe some of the details we liked and didn't like. Overall, my walk away from watching this, and I did not expect to feel this way, is that the Snyder Cut is what I think should be considered canon in the DC EU. Like we should just go with this as the canon movie. It's not a perfect movie by any stretch. And again, I really enjoyed the theatrical release in 2017 with the Whedon edits. I do think this movie makes some plot and lore improvements in particular, but I don't want to besmirch what were my very genuine feelings about the Joss Whedon release in 2017. I thought that was a very good movie and unfairly piled on by the MCU trolls and stuff like that. I think just wanted to see it fail. But I think that this should be canon. What say you, Davis?
I don't love the original JL release as you do. I did really enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. Not to your extent, I don't believe, but it had its issues, and I think where this movie improves upon, like you were speaking of the plot and a lot of the fight sequences were better, a little bit of character development extra, which was good. But I do think this should be what is canon now. It is better, but it has 2 extra hours of time to do it. So
yeah.
Good job, I guess. It's hard for me to say that because it just doesn't seem fair at this point. It's like a cheat code. It's like I went and played through the Jurassic Park Sega game and I figured out how to do it, afterwards, and read some books, and I came over to your house and then you watched me play it perfectly. So
you think this was a perfect execution, or like
no? You've played Jurassic Park. You're gonna die a few times. You know what perfect means in that game. It's
It's interesting. I mean, honestly, the 4-hour price tag turns me off, and then knowing that he put this out in 4.3 also completely
doesn't bother me in the slightest.
Dude, no, just no.
It bothered me in the first 10 minutes. And
everything about it, like it's just too much pomp. It's annoying. Like it's everything that I hate about Hollywood and about directors and about like just the approach or just the thought towards calling something like this art and like taking another pass at it. Like the original Justice League was fine, dude. It was fine. It's not a great movie. It's not a horrible movie. It's just it's a fun watch, and then you're done with it. There's no reason. Like I can't imagine what they could have added to make it more more meaningful or like add story. Like,
oh, they definitely did though, dude. Like
His style
you're gonna have to pony up the 4 hours of your time to find out, and some of it will be minorly spoiled here, but they definitely they added a lot more meaning. I think they added a lot more heart to this.
Just go into the spoilers. Like, what?
We will. Well, I also do think it's important to. I do think it's important to make the point about in terms of the why of this, because I understand sort of, you know, some people might think that this is maybe a precedent setter for Hollywood moving forward, but the reason why Zack Snyder had to step away was a horrific family tragedy with the death of his daughter, like that, and he had to leave. And they brought in somebody else to finish his work, and it was wildly changed. And while I enjoyed that, now having seen this, and again, I did not expect to feel this way coming out of the Snyder Cut. But I feel like it's better. I feel like it should be what the universe uses to build off moving forward.
Like now it's not even like dark and seedy. It's just like a silly comedy now, right? Like he recut all the music, the lighting, like the color filter looks.
If anything,
a movie now.
No, Zack Snyder is known for being the dourest of the dour in terms of the comic book movies.
Now it's just full slow motion. Like there's not a single.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that.
You get the full base of the Speed Force in slow motion. It's about an hour of the movie if you cut it up, so you get to really see him run.
Someone should put Zack. Someone should remove all the slow motion from Zack
see what the runtime is.
Yeah,
dude, I think that actually is probably a great experiment. And I mean, let's talk. Like there is too much slow mo in this movie. There is like Snyder's gonna Snyder, and there's a point in this, like in the early going, where it's like it's almost just a parody of what people say about his movies, like joking around with Jeff. And then, you know, he and I had been talking about Watchmen, which I actually really enjoyed. Watchmen, missing a little something, but I really did like it. But he almost recreates a scene from Watchmen with the scene with Lois Lane in the rain and the umbrella and just fully bathing in the music and nothing else. Like, that's the funeral from Watchmen, dude. Like right down to the way you shoot the raindrops coming off the umbrella in slow motion. Like what are we doing?
I just imagine him like going over some dailies with his camera team, and they're like, "How are you thinking about shooting this, boss?" And he's like, thinking slow motion. And they're like, "We're on it." They already have the rigs ready to go.
It's like Simpsons with Homer and Maggie making that video. And Homer's like, and star wipe, and we're done. Maggie, I'm taking my name off. Or excuse me, Lisa, not Maggie. Maggie's the baby.
Honestly, as long as they shoot everything in a frame rate where they can do slow motion, then they're safe, right? Because then you just have it all ready for him to throw the 50% speed on it at any given time. Maybe even slower if you have the opportunity to.
Dude, I mean, there was a ton of needless slow motion. No, Davis?
Oh, it was incredible. Yes, I already said about the Flash, but I felt like every time Wonder Woman was going on,
I'm okay with that slow motion.
Dude, some of the Wonder Woman effects, like, you talk about like the slow motion with her, but some of her just fighting special effects, like when she was blocking those slow motion machine gun bullets, looked goofy as hell. Yeah. I don't know. It did not look great, in my opinion.
No, and it just seemed like once he did it once with the Flash in the Speed Force, I just don't need to see it again. I know what that is.
I felt that way watching the original Justice League cut, where I was like, all right, I get it.
They did it a few times.
Yeah, they did.
And if there's some inner dialogue happening, like there was once with his father at this point, and then the one scene where Superman first comes back and he notices that he's almost as fast as him.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's a great scene. The inner dialogue with his dad, those two can be kept, I think, and then you're good. And then you don't need anything else. Maybe his first scene with Iris at the beginning, saving her. But
I did not love that scene. I hated the music choice.
I wish they would have cut that one.
Yeah, that was one that we didn't really need whatsoever. That was like, can we get an editor in here for that, please? But I do agree with you with the Flash. Like, they overdid the slow motion with him. I do think his character is the most important to have it at times.
Yeah.
And I would have had it with him at the sort of the climax decision that he makes at the end to save the day. But yeah, overall, it was, especially in the early going of this movie, it was like, oh boy, this is the most Zack Snyder movie to ever Zack Snyder in history. It was, I mean, it is the Snyder Cut for through and through. They did, extend certain scenes. They changed how the movie started, which was sort of a double-edged sword for me, because I liked in the 2017 version seeing Superman, doing the interview with the kids and stuff like that, getting that sort of very bright, vibrant superhero Superman that I think a lot of fans were sort of clamoring for within the characterization in the DCEU. That being said, because I would have found a way to incorporate that somewhere as well, but I don't think he wanted to use anything from Joss Whedon's cut. But I do sort of appreciate the symmetry of this movie starting with the death of Superman, because that's where we last saw him. And, Batman v Superman started with, the end of Man of Steel and going to Bruce Wayne's point of view. So it is all sort of very symmetrical, and like it speaks to, very, very much so that Zack Snyder did have a plan going into this. And, and I like that sort of like the death throes of Superman awakening the mother boxes, I thought was pretty cool. What did you think about the change of how it got going, Davis?
I did like the beginning of this one more. Something about Whedon's beginning on that felt very weak and limp-wristed almost, to be quite honest.
Wow. You don't like a happy Superman at all.
Yeah, it's just not where I thought the vibe and where we left off. It didn't really match up, and yes, that's what we lost with the death of Superman, but that's not where we are. I think that's where they need to kick off. So kudos to him for catching up on that and making that symmetrical, as you say.
Also, with we got some groundwork laid for character intros. I feel like that they were extended. We got the stuff with the Amazons at the beginning. Steppenwolf, though, was a big talking point. He looked completely different. As Liev Schreiber would say in Wolverine, shiny. What did you think of Steppenwolf's new look?
I didn't know he was part porcupine. That was a new look for me.
Yes.
I don't know how that jives with the comic book version. We're missing our DC lapdog Mark right now. So.
He in the versions that I've seen, he does not look like that.
Okay.
The armor and spirit is very similar, but he's much more human-esque.
Even more confusing then, because why would you do that when it's that hard to make visually? Like.
Because I think if there's a critique of the 2017 version, is that Steppenwolf was kind of a nothing, and I like the actor that portrays him. Ciarán Hinds is a great actor, but they didn't.
Fantastic actor, but they missed the first time. They missed this time, at least with the armor. I think when he brings it,
he looks at least better.
He does look better, but when he does bring the armor back a few times, that's when I'm like, wow, okay. I can see like actual character here, and it doesn't feel. And even though he's an alien and he's clearly CGI'd, it doesn't feel that way, because it does feel like there's emotion to him, because there's the skin there, there's body features and all that, and the armor just looks so fake and pointy everywhere. It's just. I just don't.
I mean, it's not how I would have concepted Steppenwolf to look either. Just because I feel there's just a sort of a buy-in factor. Yeah. But I do think that beyond his new shiny look, he got time to shine in the Snyder Cut. He got a lot more backstory and sort of reason, and I thought his sort of being undercut at the end made a lot more sense here in the Snyder Cut. I want to go into some of the additions that were just man. Aquaman, his sort of the slow-mo of him taking the swig and walking towards the waves was, I feel like, even more extended.
You didn't like them singing him so he swims off in the ocean?
What the fuck was that, dude? The most, like, they're
Smell
singing
the shark,
something.
James. Sniff his scent, baby.
Dude, what was that? They're serenading him into the ocean out of nowhere. I was not feeling that.
Although I will
that was the most, like, what?
When I saw that, I did get like this. Okay, this is where myths came from. This is where mythology stems, and like this is how these people would react to the gods, especially in this like little small off fishing village. Like they're going to have songs to this person. They're going to adore him.
I don't want anybody singing at me.
And personally, if I was that girl stuffing a shirt, I would have been doing a lot more than that. So.
I mean, yes, Jason Momoa, Aquaman, very, very handsome. But I didn't. I hated that. I just could have done without that.
It's corny as hell.
I thought it was super weird. I get what they're going for. Like they're the new gods and everything. It just. Nah.
I mean, even that. I mean, that is Scream Snyder. There's not much about this movie that doesn't like. Yes.
Oh no, that's
Snyder.
Is definitely. I think it was that scene, the Iris scene. I could have done without. The extended Amazon intro for Steppenwolf didn't really do much of anything for me. And I've seen people try and say it's like, oh, like it made you care more about like the Amazons and stuff. I didn't know who any of them were, so the ones they were killing off didn't mean fuck all to me. Yeah, like, it just was too long. That whole thing could have been edited down. I love Steppenwolf tossing the one on the horse, though. I'm sorry about the horse, but you know, as a Red Dead player, you know, it hits deep. But I didn't feel any extra connection to them through that.
There was some.
It also made Hippolyta look super stupid. Like the thing falls into the ocean. It's like, do you think you won? Like this interdimensional being just came in. You think he's just gonna like that's it for him?
He literally just teleported in. Why couldn't he teleport out?
Yeah, I don't know, but that didn't do it for me. But let's take another quick break, and on the other side, we'll dive deeper into what we maybe liked more and where this leaves the DCEU. We're talking more Snyder Cut on the other side in the Best Damn Nerd Show. Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. James Kincaid, Chris Davis, John Craig, and we are talking about the Snyder Cut Justice League re-released. Zack Snyder's new slow-mo vision, and I know we're getting the stuff out of the way that we didn't like in terms of just the caricature aspects of the movie. But like I said, when we were
supposed to get it all out.
Well, there's a couple more things that we left out. Go ahead, Davis. You start.
No. We'll get there. We're going through.
Go ahead. Okay, well, then I'll throw out what was on the top of my mind as we were coming back from break. Martian Manhunter. What the fuck?
That last scene. I'm okay with the middle one. I can do, like, cool. Like, he's here. He's in the universe.
Why isn't he helping?
He had a part. Oh, he didn't really feel it out right. You know, it's fine. But that last scene was so awkward and so bland, and like somebody fluff up that writing just a bit. Come on, like,
well,
that was brutal. That was hard to end on.
I would have, I think, preferred just seeing him once at the end, because him showing up in the middle and then not doing anything to help them save the literal world doesn't really sync up with what I know of Martian Manhunter.
Lois is the key. He got Lois to do the thing. So he did everything you wanted. So move on.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. In the very like awkward exchange with him and Bruce Wayne at the very end, he's like, "Yeah, what's their name?" He like answers some other question. He's like, "There are some that call me the Martian Manhunter." It's like, okay, but like, what do you call yourself?
And it doesn't like roll off the tongue, obviously, like that name. Like, maybe
I dig it. I love the Martian Manhunter. I was happy. Like it felt predatory, because it was like great to see him, but it was like there's no real reason for him to be here. It was like a 90s superhero movie move to be like, oh look, see, this guy's in our world too. It's like, oh, that's awesome. It's like, but why?
You guys know that you just like did all that really cool stuff and life and death. I'm here now though, so
Yeah, you guys
something
have
else
convinced
comes up,
me.
I'll be
Like,
there.
I was pretty much retired, but you guys saving the world convinced me. I'm down to be a part of this.
There's nothing else coming, right?
If you had failed, sure, Darkseid would have had the the anti-life equation and all that stuff. But now I'm convinced
No biggie.
to participate. Let's talk about something super positive. All of the stuff with Darkseid in this movie that I think is one of the prevailing takeaways for what were you thinking, Joss Whedon? Like, how do you just completely cut him out of your movie? He's so important to making this movie make more sense, feel more epic, and just like tell a completed story. And it helps, his involvement really helped Steppenwolf feel like a fully formed character. I can't believe that he wasn't in the 2017 version, given that there was so much of him to draw upon in this one. And I thought he looked amazing. I thought all of his involvement was great. Was a real super highlight. Was seeing Darkseid in the Justice League Snyder Cut. What say you?
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense why he was left out, especially Whedon. Like you were just doing this on the other side. Like,
maybe that's why.
You know how to do this. You just did it. Why did you leave him out? So maybe he was like looking for the credit scene or something else. But no, it totally added more to Steppenwolf, and it added and then Desaad, it added more to him too. I mean, and just his addition. I mean, it did so much for the villains in this movie that you just don't get a ton of right now in the DC universe, and they were missing that. And so it was nice to finally get a little bit of that and possible continuity moving forward if they stick with it. And I love, the last scene of them working together to, kill him through the portal, and Darkseid stomps on his head and all that. Yeah, that was awesome. That was a great scene. That was a fantastic scene.
Yeah. The sort of Lord of the Rings-esque alliance against Darkseid in the early going, this movie being expanded was a welcome sight. It really worked for me, and all that stuff. Like, you go back to Green Lantern, like, where was that movie at its best? Was when it was off-world, really leaning into the lore. This Snyder Cut, man, it gave me a lot of lore to sink my teeth into, and I really, really loved that about it. And yeah, just seeing the Atlanteans and the Amazonians and the men, that whole scene being more so prevalent was great.
That was great. We get a Green Lantern though, and he can do anything with his ring. And what do we see? A green beam.
I like a green beam.
That's it.
I'm not
you're
gonna
show us a green lantern, and all I get is a freaking green flash of light. Come on, man.
Yeah, sometimes, as somebody that has chalked up many a victory as Green Lantern in the video game world, sometimes a green beam's all you need. You don't have to get too fancy.
What's interesting about that is, much like when James picks Green Lantern in video games and then only does one move the entire fucking time he plays for hours.
I did
on point there. No wonder James likes the one trick pony.
Well, guess what happened to him, John?
It's effective, baby. Yeah, he got killed. That's something that didn't happen when he was under my control. I loved that moment though with Darkseid trying to get the ring, as it was floating off of his corpse. It was just that was such great little touches. Darkseid in this was probably my favorite new addition. Was him. But we were talking about the expanded intros and stuff like that. Cyborg got a really big revamp in this movie, and a really important one as it went along. And a lot of people are saying that he's sort of the heart of this movie. And I liked a lot of the additions that they made with him. Didn't love it at the start. I thought his mom's justification for hacking into the school computer and changing a student's grades was fucking ridiculous. But whatever.
Mama bear gonna mama bear, James.
But what did you think of the new take on Cyborg?
I can see why the actor was pissed.
He's a much bigger deal in this.
Yeah. Because that 2017 cut, He didn't do much for him, and I don't think it would have done much for
I liked him in the 2017 cut.
He was fine, but
He was like a minor character in that, though.
Yeah, there was nothing to him. And in this, man, he shined. And
he really did, and it has a through line with his dad much more so in this movie.
Yeah, and it's just I can understand where he was coming from afterwards, and he was so much better in this. The Cyborg was him and Darkseid were definitely the 1-2 punch that helped this movie a lot.
I do think it's funny that when he was sort of discovering his powers and his ability to sort of, change the balance of financial power and help people out, he was doing it all from this, the confines of wherever he was at. And then when he had to go in person to see the face of the woman who he was giving, $100,000 to or whatever it was. Yeah. Well, selfish Cyborg, it's you don't need people to see you do that. It's not really charity if you're doing it for the likes on Instagram, buddy.
I was gonna say, if you want to help somebody, help Superman's mom at the end. You could have beat Bruce Wayne to the punch there. So.
Or you could help support us at the Best Damn Nerd Show. But,
go to our Patreon
or Discord, bestdamnnerdshow.com/Discord, or is it bestdamnnerdshow.com/Patreon, or you could just slide into my DMs and send me some money. I'm on all the major, I'm on Venmo. I've got a cat as my default picture. So.
He's on Coinbase. Send him some crypto.
Yeah, crypto. Yeah, how are your diamond hands doing, Davis?
I'm about even right now, so we're holding strong.
What's something else that stood out to you about the Snyder Cut that we haven't touched on yet, Davis?
Oh man. Well, shoot. I want to say. Well, there was the final. I definitely want to talk about the final 10 minutes of this dream sequence.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it, because I hated it, and I'd like to end on a positive note.
Yeah.
So let's get that out of the fucking way.
We need to get this through our system a little bit. Why? Why did we do this? And is it setting up for anything, or is it trying to put emphasis behind what they were talking about with Lois Lane? I don't know if it's the Lois Lane thing. It doesn't really help. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't add. I think that can be cut. And then you want to throw Joker on there?
He was terrible.
Who is, I'll give him this. He was better than his Suicide Squad counterpart. Same actor, I know, but he doesn't have all the tats and all. But he's just not a good Joker. I'm going to just leave it at that. He's not good at playing that character. I didn't believe that's who the Joker was in this world, in that realm. I didn't need it.
Yeah, didn't need it is the word of the day when it comes to, or phrase of the day when it comes to that dream sequence. And for me, it was more, we don't have time for this. Like, literally at a 4-hour plus runtime, and I was on cloud 9 with what we had gotten almost up to that point, because I thought the climax of how they closed out, we'll get to that in a minute, was just, I was like, that was chef's kiss, and the first part of the epilogue was so great, and then we like on Roller Coaster Tycoon, or I guess on just a roller coaster, you hit that precipitous drop, and it was too intense for me. I did not like it. Starting with the Lex Luthor scene that we knew was coming and everything like that with Deathstroke, but you say Jared Leto just can't play Joker. I don't buy Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. He doesn't hit the right notes for me at all. I would have loved if in canon we could just cut that or recast that and get Billy Zane in there as Lex Luthor and right the wrongs of the past. Like, we have the technology. We could do all this stuff. Let's just recast it. Because I don't feel like anybody really.
Billy Zane is living.
Yeah,
Kevin Spacey's available.
yeah, give him another shot. Jeff actually said that too. That would be a possible entry. He was a good Lex Luthor. There's no taking that away.
Put Bill Burr in there.
I wouldn't want to see Bill Burr as Lex Luthor, but
he'd be better than him.
Yeah, it's a low bar, though. And like you said, Billy Zane is extant and by all accounts available. So I would have loved to have seen that. But that's where it really sort of fell off the cliff. It started with that. It's like, oh, God, I forgot how shit Jesse Eisenberg is as Lex Luthor. And then we go to that dream sequence that again, we don't have time for this. And also after all of that, like, God, no, didn't need it whatsoever. It was so bad. Yeah.
I would have been great with them go to Arkham, end with the prisoner laughing. So Joker just bailed out Luthor. Boom. And you know that he is causing mischief. He's causing mayhem. That's all you need. Great.
Yeah, if you want to end on a cliffhanger ending like that, I think that's a much better call. For me, you end this movie in the epilogue when you're still getting Cyborg's dad talking about being one of the heroes and the hope for the the future and all that stuff, and you get the great, almost perfect shot of it. You just end the movie with Clark Kent peeling back the shirt, revealing the Superman suit underneath. Just the iconic image. Go to black. We're out. I was looking for that happy ending.
Yeah,
but yeah, your cliffhanger ending would have worked as well.
Do that cliffhanger ending in the credits then. Have that be your credit scene.
Sure.
End on Superman, so you end on the happy note, and then you get the credit scene. Boom. You can have both ways.
That dream sequence is a no go. Absolutely not.
That hurt. That hurt to end on. And then it didn't help that Manhunter was right after that, and that was just so flat.
It was just we were almost out on like the best note. It's like God.
The action sequences though, getting back on a high note, I will say a lot of the action sequences were enhanced, were better. The fight through I don't know what the town was exactly where the reactor was, but there's no more families living in this nuclear blast town, which why on earth would there have been families there to begin with? So already a plus on Snyder there. There's some pretty cool action going through all that, maybe a little long in some sequences, but overall, when they're fighting Steppenwolf, once they get inside the base, I felt a lot of more team unity in this movie, like fighting with each other, and it felt more like they were a team and they needed to be a team to beat them. Granted, they still needed Superman in the end, but
I love that. Like Superman is that dude, and they did a great job in the Snyder Cut of really hammering that home, and sort of Batman having to take it on faith, and it's like he needs Superman. I feel like they hammered that home so much harder in this, even with his resurrection. The resurrection scene was great in the 2017 cut. It was even better here because you got an extended sort of display of Superman's he took out the entire team. He took, like, even just to get to Batman. Like, I loved him dodging Barry and sort of spearing him into Aquaman. And again, we mentioned it before, but the sort of the best slow-mo is Barry using the Speed Force, but Superman still being at almost regular speed, seeing him was just awesome. And needing Superman, I liked, actually, because like the whole fact that like his death awoke these mother boxes, I think is powerful.
Yeah. I think what they also did really good with the team members in this was actually compare power levels between each of them on who is just a little bit stronger than the next, who is a little bit faster than the next. And I thought it showed that actually pretty well and pretty consistent throughout the movie, which I think is good to know as a viewer of like where you stand with each character and what to expect from them. So I really like that more in this film too.
Yeah, the power levels were on point. The purpose in the climax was on point. Like, it didn't feel like Batman was just sort of standing around as much as he was in the 2017 version, which I understood at the time. I was like, yeah, he's just kind of hilariously overmatched here. But they even had him. He had more to do. Everyone had their moments to shine. Especially as they were taking down Steppenwolf, and I loved that. Cyborg had a great moment where he essentially saved the day. But I think my favorite was Barry, breaking his rules to sort of because they fail, but he rewrites time a little bit. He breaks his rule so that they don't fail. I loved that. I thought Barry had a lot of the heart of this as well in the Flash. So I enjoyed that, and it gets me thinking, it's like, oh, maybe this is this what's going to be leading into sort of Flashpoint paradox and things of that nature. So I really liked that everyone had their moment. and just the visual again of Darkseid being, oh hey, you're right there on the other side of the portal there. That's not great. And but sending Steppenwolf back over there to him and seeing again more of Desaad and Granny Goodness, it was awesome. It was great setup for what makes me hopeful for the DCEU as constructed, which is why I hope that this just sort of, I hope it becomes the canon moving forward, except for the dream sequence. If we could just somehow just kill that, just kill it dead. We don't have time for this.
I don't know where they would go with that. I feel like it's just for emphasis on Lois Lane, on what they were talking about during the movie. And because I don't know where they would take maybe in Flashpoint Paradox when they do the Flash movie.
Yeah,
but...
that's kind of what I think. It's almost like a fusion of Flashpoint and the Injustice video game storyline. Like because you do see in that with what we assume is Lois Lane's sort of bones and Superman's arms and Darkseid putting his hand on his shoulder like a good time buddy. But. Another really positive. We talked about the extended sort of showing Superman's power level. When he is rediscovering who he is as Superman, and he goes back to the ship, and we hear both Russell Crowe and Kevin Costner, Superman's two dads, talking to him and narrating. I love that. I thought that was really pulled on all the best heartstrings that we had gotten from Superman in this universe so far. I really appreciated that, and I'm not into the black suit, but I know a lot of people are, and I know it ties back into the Death of Superman comics. It's not for me. I like the classics, but I get it, and so cool. It was cool visual. What did you think of all that?
It's good that they brought those voices back. Superman needs that from a character standpoint, because especially for me, he's just so bland as a hero. I think that his strengths come from his supporting characters.
I don't think he's bland. I think that's prevailing narrative about him.
And that's that my limited following.
I think in today's world, just like Captain America and the Avengers, we could use a little old fashioned. I don't. To me, we've gone so far the other direction that I think there's something endearing about the Boy Scout, about the guy that's helping the citizens of Metropolis, get their cat out of a tree or whatever kind of deal. Bend some steel bars around a bank robber or two, which is why I really liked that the Whedon opening with him, because we got to see that sort of much more sort of warm-hearted street level Superman that helped the individual as opposed to the the entire world. I like that. That's the cool thing. The cool thing about Superman is that he does both. He has the time. He makes the time to do both.
No, give me dying dad, man.
Well, you got your fix. Cyborg's dad died, and dude from Skynet always just does a great job.
They're hitting all the notes with dying dads. It's great.
It's not great track record if you're a superhero for parents and everything.
Especially a male parent. Good luck.
Yeah, but let me look at Barry. He doesn't have a mom, so his dad's in prison for it, But whatever. Any closing thoughts on things that we haven't covered that you really liked in particular?
Well, we will. This is more of a dislike on what we were talking on. How everybody got to shine. I would have liked to see a little bit more on Batman's action, a little bit more stealth in the shadows type, and they had a really good moment where I thought they really could have done that once and then go into something else, but he turned off all the power to the airship right when it went down. And it was pitch black and the parademons are coming in, and then just have them take out like 3 to 4 pitch black Batman style, and then now go action style. But because I didn't really feel like I got any real Batman action. I got Justice League Batman.
I feel like we got some decent Batman stuff. I will say that watching this, I hope we find a way to keep Ben Affleck as Batman and Bruce Wayne. He's great, and I was fully wrong to react the way that I did, way back in the day when he was cast. I'm eating crow on that still to this day. I'm happily wrong. He's awesome. I want to keep him as long as we can.
I think we've eaten crow on any sort of DC casting that they've done, because I think the cast has been solid. The problem has been with the writing for the most part.
Yeah.
And we've said that multiple times, I know. But if they can nail the writing on the DCEU, they're going to be good. Their cast is really good, minus Joker and Luthor. But you know,
well, I can't win them all.
Their problem is that they don't have the same like commitment to the DCEU that Marvel does MCU.
Right.
Like everyone don't get used to this cast.
Yeah, they want to bail out.
We already have the replacements lined up. We're making movies with them right now.
This upcoming Batman movie is going to be a one-up. There's still going to be DCU movies made in this line.
That's the problem.
It is.
It's the problem. Doing that with Joker, doing that with Batman, doing that with anything, it's a problem.
You're diluting it. It's
maybe. Yes. I think
don't get me wrong, like they could be good movies in their own right. Like I really enjoyed the Joker movie, but it's confusing and weird.
I think it is confusing to some, and that might be limiting in terms of maybe box office appeal or people asking like, well, wait, I thought this was happening. But I could offer the other perspective, which is, you know, they wanted to tell this grandiose. They wanted to catch up to the Avengers in the MCU, so they wanted to tell this grandiose Justice League story, and they aged up Batman and stuff like that. But now it's like, so this is happening and will happen, but we can jump back in time a little bit or into another parallel universe where we are still fighting the Penguin or Clayface or Two-Face or whomever. So I don't know. I kind of appreciate it for that. I guess I'm more optimistic. But you're right, is that DC, at least the signals they sent out is like, well, we'll bail out and recast if we have to. You know, like, they don't like Ben Affleck because of meme culture, so we gotta. And I'm sorry, okay, I was a part of that. I was wrong.
I mean, we're really gonna find out in both universes now, because that's happening in Marvel too. We're getting the Doctor Strange movie coming up. That's going to split universes. A lot of things are going to be possible now.
Multiverses,
and so now you
mutants,
have
mutants.
You got both properties that are going to rely on this structure, and who can do it better? Now you're actually both on the playing field, and now you're going to have to keep fans aligned in this type of continuity, and it's hard.
I think we all lose.
that being said, I did take in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I really enjoyed the first episode. So nice. I'm looking forward to talking about that either in the Discord, which again is bestdamnnerdshow.com/Discord, or on a future episode of the show, or whatever we got going on. I hope I thought it was a strong start. There's some heartbreaking story points in there that I was, it's pretty good stuff. So I'm excited by it so far. But one thing that we didn't mention, it goes back to the expanded intros and sort of more backstory. I love what we got from Aquaman. We see Vulko played by Willem Dafoe more. We just get more justification and setup for the Aquaman movie as it would come to be. There. I enjoyed all of that stuff. I liked how Mira used her powers on Steppenwolf was cool too. I enjoyed a lot of that expanded backstory that we got, and just the lore. The Snyder Cut had a lot of good lore they were throwing at me, and I really dug it. And so hats off to him for that. Any parting shots, Davis, before we get out of here?
I mean, hats off to you. You had 2 extra hours. You got the median that worked for you to do this, and hey, and we all got a better movie out of it. That's what this came down to. I do think it's better, but it's not what it would have been, and I know that. And so I still feel like it's kind of cheating. So.
Zack Snyder's a cheater, according to Davis.
He's laughing into the night right now, so it doesn't really freaking matter.
I think we need to download it and release the BD&S cut where we can cut out scenes that we didn't like.
Speed, and it's like a 30
that is a great experiment to see how much time would be saved. But if we cut out a few things, cut some things back down, I think we might have an A+ movie on our hands, Zach. So
I think Davis is just a hater with the woulda, shoulda, coulda, dude. If a frog had wings, it wouldn't bump its ass.
Thank you, Cassandra from Wayne's World.
but But it does make me wonder, listening to you guys spoil the movie now. Number one, does make me want to watch it, which is, God damn it. I'll end up watching it and then like 2 episodes from now being like, what do you guys think about Justice League?
Let's talk about it.
But it does.
It definitely ran the gamut.
More than anything, though, it does make me wonder, like, what was happening behind the scenes where Joss Whedon took such a huge departure from the original intent of the movie. Because on one hand, you have to expect that, like, he would have gotten some rundown from Zack Snyder before taking it over. But then on the other hand, like, if he's not the author of this thing and he wasn't the original person intended to do it, maybe he didn't have the power and clout with the studio that Zack Snyder would have. So when it's running long or when notes come in, like, he doesn't have the same authorship and pushback.
Well, I think that you talk about, Whedon's influence on it. I think a lot of us assumed that the tone lightening of Joss Whedon would be, sort of, and it was in there. There definitely was sort of Joss Whedon and some throwaway jokes that are not present in this movie. But where I was getting at with that is the idea of what I credited Joss Whedon with was the tone of Superman. And that was wrong, because we got essentially the same Superman that we got in the 2017 version. This was a more lighthearted, sort of upstanding, not dour Superman that I think a lot of people have been clamoring for. It just was done in a different way. He happened to be wearing the black suit and things like that, but he still was very much so Superman, which I appreciated. So it's sort of a misattribution there. And this definitely was a I don't go to laugh movie. I mean, there were some throwaway jokes in there, but not like most current MCU movies or properties have, gag lines and stuff. And I appreciated it for that. Yeah. And I also think it wasn't as dark as Batman v Superman or Man of Steel either. So I think he sort of found a better balance with that.
You just wonder how he could have removed Darkseid. Like, that's a huge decision, and that's one of those where it's like, did the studio say, hey man, this is running way too long, and his only out, or even one of the studio executives was like, the only way out is to cut Darkseid and we hold him off for another movie, and that'll give you the time you need, and then maybe you can add some other stuff back in, and so it just changes the shape of the movie. But like, that's a major story difference.
Dude, it's the biggest one from it.
It's amazing that that could have happened.
I didn't realize the extent that Darkseid would be involved in this. And it's not like he's in every scene or anything like that, or that he's a quote major character. But it's enough that it left a very strong impact on the movie, and as we said, really helped Steppenwolf actually be like, okay, this is why they went with that character in the first place.
I think what you guys walked through in this episode too, which makes me more curious, is like, it wasn't just a cut that had more bonus scenes and features. Like, truly, they left so much footage on the cutting room floor that originally was intended to go in it, that it does justify having a new cut. And that's where I'm like, how could the studio have cut that out originally? And number two, it totally makes sense that they wanted to do this cut, because they were like, we have, $100 million sitting on the cutting room floor, be it from shoot days or from VFX or from, maybe they did edit rounds initially on some of that stuff. Like, there's so much money invested in that footage that didn't make it in that original cut. Like, it seems obvious why Zack Snyder was able to, or why the fans or whoever initiated it really was able to talk Warner Brothers into doing this.
Yeah, it seems obvious now in hindsight. No, I was blown away by the fact that it was going to be 4 hours. I was surprised at how many sort of story driving twist elements were in this that differentiated it from the version that we got. And so that was surprising. So looking at it now, I think most people are very happy with what they saw. It was too long. Again, the hashtag release the BDNS cut will be coming. So we'll get it down to a more manageable runtime. But the bones of like a really awesome movie were there, and a different movie. Like, yeah, the difference is I was not expecting that many. You know,
Interesting.
More like a Star Wars special edition. Was thinking it's like, oh, there's a few like
that's what I was imagining, which is why I didn't watch it, honestly. So I'm kind of glad you guys spoiled some of it for me, at least, because I wouldn't watch it had I not heard this. Like, if people were just saying like, no, it's good, trust me, leaving it at that, it's like,
I've seen it.
I'm not interested. Yeah, but like even knowing what's coming, like I want to watch it now. So congrats, you guys.
Great. Well, we've done our job. If you can reach one person,
is there a promo code people can enter?
if you reach one person, you've done your job. So that is going to do it for this edition of the Best Damn Nerd Show. Have a great week, everyone, and remember, if you're a nerd, always say it loud and say it proud.